Well, this is where we're living up here on the OP. I tried to take a picture, but it's so small I couldn't get it all in one shot, so figured I'd shoot a little movie of it. Everyone's bags. Little light. A window. Hung a blanket over the door. And then there's the entrance. That's their generator. You can hear one of them yapping. Well, it's the front. The roof, sticks, mud, branches. Keeps us pretty dry. Camp's down there somewhere. It's rainy today.
The greatest thing a man can do is to give up his life for his brother, care about others. And here's a kid who epitomized every single one of those virtues that you hear about. It's that phenomenal smile, that grin that he had, that everybody that knows him remembers. He was always looking out for other people. That's the way he was brought up.
I know he gave away a kitchen table to a family. It was a single dad that needed a kitchen table, so he gave this dad his kitchen table. I remember his roommate was so mad, but he was so quiet about it. He never talked about it. I think he just did what he did because it came from his heart.
Jared joined the Army because he wanted money to go to college, so he joined the National Guard first.
And there was some trepidation as to him getting in and what might happen. So I felt good, proud, but at the same time, really a little apprehensive.
He took it very seriously, so he left the Guard and went regular Army.
It really wasn't until I went to visit him at Fort Bragg in North Carolina that gave me the clearest picture of how he really was in the military. I got it. I mean, it was such a brotherhood. He was so close to them, and that's when I completely understood why he stayed in the military. He just loved his guys.
For a lot of people, the values that we live are just words. Sergeant Monti actually lived those values. They became a part of him.
His commanding officer came over to me, and he would call generals over and he'd say, "Watch Monti with his men." He just had a way with them.
He believed in his guys, and that's ultimately what it came down to. He was going to do whatever it took to take care of his boys, and that's what happened.
Sergeant First Class Monti's 16-man patrol came under attack by a superior force consisting of as many as 50 enemy fighters.
And all of a sudden, we just received a call that there were troops in contact.
Took fire, and we returned fire back, and it was just one bad thing after another.
Copy. Danger close.
Jared then realized that one of his soldiers, Private Brian Bradbury, was lying wounded and exposed to enemy fire.
Reports were coming in slowly that we had received wounded.
A very large force of Taliban insurgents, estimated at somewhere over 60. Now there were 16 of them. So it was a 4-to-1, basically 4-to-1 ratio. Attacked from two different sides. Jared got everybody down in positions, but there was someone missing, and that was Brian Bradbury. Brian had been hit by an RPG, and Jared, he started out from behind his rock to get Brian. He got within a meter of him, and the fire was so heavy it drove him back behind a place of cover. He tried a second time, but only took a few steps, and again, they were zeroing in, and the fire was so heavy he had to get behind a rock. Then decided to try a third time, so we got everybody to give him cover fire, and he took about 2 steps before he was hit with an RPG and killed. When he went down, They tell me that he did two things. He said the Our Father, made peace with his Lord, and then he said, tell my family I love them, and he passed. Trying to save Bradbury was the right thing to do. That's all there was. It was the right thing to do, and that's the way Jared was.
Sorry I haven't seen you in a while.
I knew Jared was a wonderful kid. I knew that he was humble. I knew that he liked to help people.
Sweet home.
But I never realized the magnitude of it, ever, until all these people called me or emailed me or talked to me on the phone or at his funeral. Then I began to realize what a giant this little guy was. The phone rang. There was a woman on the phone. She said, are you Paul Monti? Yes. Father Jared Monti? Yes. Well, there's someone here that would like to speak to you. And she handed the phone to the president, and he said, hello, Mr. Monti. The nation is very proud of your son, and I'm very proud of your son, and I know that you're very proud of your son. And I said, yes, sir, I am. And he said, well, I want to inform you that your son has been cleared by the Secretary of the Army and the Secretary of Defense to receive the Medal of Honor.
To him, it would represent every single soldier, Marine, sailor, whoever. This is for them. This soldier is for all of them, all of them.
Jared would want to be remembered as the guy that did the right thing, period.
Come on, old man, get them knees up.
In a sense that he way outgrew the size of his own body in his character.
If you're laying there and you're wounded, somebody that's going to come out in the middle of a firefight and try to rescue you, there's very, very few people that'll do that.
I know he wouldn't change anything. I know he would do it again.
This is a better way. Oh, I believe it.
He would change nothing.
I think they're all heroes. And he would think so too. Like I said before, about that medal is for all of them.
He deserved it.
Best brand of Heineken on earth. It's not a beer.
If you could give it to him just as a human.
That's tragic.
I'd like to see him remembered as a great person. Not as a hero, although, yeah, it's there. But for the person that he was, the humanitarian that he was. The things that he did, even those hidden things. And I keep trying to get his friends and fellow soldiers to come forth with the stories. There were a lot of really funny ones that show who he was. That's the things I love. That's the things I want to remember. He wasn't some nerdy, stiff, oh, I'm a soldier, got to do that kind of person. He was just a down-to-earth, wonderful. I always told people, Jared was out there to bring peace and love to the world.
Monti.
That's what he wanted to do.
So I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'm still on the move.
I have that tremendous feeling of pride, but I still can't get over not having my son, because I would give all of this up, all of it, everything, just to have him back, just to be able to hug him one more time.